Welcome to the weekend. I'm Jon Caldara, president of the Independence Institute and your devil's advocate. Is it possible Republicans could become a minority party? I know that excites you because you watch Colorado Public Television, but the real world wouldn't like that so much. From the Independence Institute, our investigative reporter, Todd Shepherd, thanks for being here. You're looking sharp.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And by the way, I need to plug the great blog, CompleteColorado.com, which is I think one of the greatest news aggregators in the state. One-stop shopping.
That's what we try to accomplish. We, when I say we, my partner Justin Longo and I, we go to 30 or 40 different news sites every day, and we do it 3 or 4 times a day to make sure that we're getting all of the most important news from all around Colorado. And like you said, putting it on one website where if you go to that one website, you got a pretty good guess that you're getting the most important news that you need right then. And
that's CompleteColorado.com. All right. And I got to congratulate the Denver Post. The Spot blog has been really fun.
Oh,
and that the Denver Post, Chuck Plunkett from the editorial board, thank you for being here.
Nice to be here, John.
And the Spot's really doing very well, isn't it?
It has been. We started it up at the beginning of the legislative session. Before then, we had bloggers all over the place. You couldn't really find where they were. And we didn't have a real central feeling of what it was we should be doing as bloggers. And so we put the political reporters and the editorial writers in a pool together, called it the Spot, which is a reconfiguration of the word post.
Oh, I didn't know that one.
Cool?
That's great.
Put it up, and we try to make sure we post several times a day with news and commentary.
What I like about it is, for political junkies like me, a lot of those stories don't make it into the ink copy of the Post, but I want to know this stuff. You know, Dan Mays says this and Tancredo says that, and you're on it very quickly. I like that.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, beats working, right?
Beats working.
Beats working. All right. Let us discuss, shall we, gentlemen? Now that it looks like Dan Mays will be number 3 in a race of 3 men, I think that's a pretty fair guess at this point that Tom Tancredo's making some serious headway, but I still think he's got a long way to go to beat Hick. Our Republican, my Republican, I've been a registered Republican since I was 18. Our Republican candidate is going to come in 3rd. It is embarrassing. In fact, in the last couple of weeks, the stories have been how the Republican establishment has been turning their back on this guy, trying to say, no, I'm a Republican. I'm voting for Tancredo. Republicans becoming the minor party.
Well, first of all, I think while it's a lot of fun to kick around on a television show, and please stay tuned in, I do think it's an exercise in mental gymnastics. That is to say, I still think, Chuck, that Mays essentially has to get 10% of the vote for
less than 10%.
Yeah, but for them to remain a major party, he would have to achieve over 10%. Right. So, and I think that will happen. While I think Tancredo's negative ads are doing significant damage, and they're going to continue to bring him down, I don't think we'll see him dip below the 10% level. One sort of question I think
him being Mays,
correct? Yeah. One interesting question that I still have about this whole party switch thing, and I'd love to see the Denver Post ask it, even though it's not the most hard-hitting question ever. If Tom Tancredo should win, and I know it's a long shot, but if Tom Tancredo wins, how long does he stay in the American Constitution Party? A day, a week, a year? I mean, because at some point we all know, don't we? He's going to switch party affiliation back to the Republican Party.
Do we know this? Has he said
I don't know that, and that's why I'd like to see somebody ask. But again, I think it's really just sort of an exercise in mental gymnastics.
Legitimate reporters from the Denver Post would ask such a question. All right, give me first of all the facts and figures. In order to be, what's the difference between a major party and a minor party? Is there some sort of statute about this?
I poked around on this for you, John. I dug into Colorado election law. Sorry, damn you for that.
Damn you for that.
So I dug around, and if the gubernatorial candidate gets less than 10% of the popular vote, the party becomes a minority party.
What does that mean?
Well, that's the good question.
Just the governor's race? Or
yeah, it's tied to the governor's race.
It's not the Secretary of State's race or the
Senate,
AG or the Senate?
Any of the districts, any of that kind of thing. So obviously, Colorado Republicans could perform very strongly in other races. In fact, the smart money is that they will in many of the other races. But with the Mays situation and being what it is, I agree with Todd. It's unlikely he'll fall below 10%, but he's going to get a shellacking. So there's 2 ways to talk. Mays will get a shellacking, and there's 2 ways to talk about this: whether they actually become a minority party or whether they are so embarrassed by that candidate that the party, either way, the party is going to have to do some serious rethinking about how it goes forward.
Let's do the first one first. Let's assume he gets 9.5% of the vote. All right, so he gets under 10% of the vote. Minor party, does that mean in the next gubernatorial election it goes Democrat, American Constitution Party, then Republican on the way that the ballot is done?
The way it works, and I talked to folks at both parties and at the Secretary of State's office, for each race, every year there's a drawing which party gets to be at top of the line, and that's divided among the major parties. So the American Constitution Party suddenly is going to have top billing, first or second billing on all the races.
On all? Wait, hold on.
If I understand it correctly, that's right.
So all the races. So let me see if I get this. So right now, the Republicans and Democrats, they flip a coin basically, and somebody gets a top billing for the governor's race. But in all the races from House districts and state Senate districts and U.S. House and the U.S. Senate, all these races, it's Republican, Democrat on the top two lines. If Mays gets less than 10% of the vote, then it's going to be between the American Constitution Party and the Democrat Party on all those races?
That is my understanding.
What I find
I don't know that the ACP has that many candidates. So
they will, my friend. They will.
I think one of the interesting implications, though, that when people say, well, my gosh, the Republicans would now be below the ACP in the ballot order, does anybody else find that insulting to the voter, that they're so attention-addled or that they're so illiterate that they can't look at a ballot and know who they're voting for before they walk into that ballot, before they walk into that booth, or before they mail it off to their county clerk, and say, I know I'm going to vote for the Republican. I'm going to look for him, and I'm going to make that check wherever, even if it's on the backside of the ballot.
I would see it a different way. I would say that if the American Constitution Party is guaranteed the second or even first slot, that means all these seats are guaranteed to have an ACP guy running. So you're going to have a Constitution guy running, a Libertarian running, and a Republican running. So the people on the right of center will be bludgeoning themselves. And what it means for Republicans is that they're going to lose more. I mean, look at the ballot this year. If you're center left, you have one governor guy to run to vote for. That's it. Hick. If you're center-right, you got two independents, you got a Libertarian, you got a Constitution Party guy, and you got Mays.
4 candidates in CD4.
Right. Yeah. So in other words, it just keeps pulling the Republicans' base apart, and that's what we Republicans do so well.
But again, let's move on to part 2 of that, since it's doubtful that Mays will. Well, how would Mays fall below 10%? It could be that the money so dries up that his campaign staff abandons him, although he just hired a new campaign manager, so maybe he's still got money coming in.
Well, hang on a second. But I think there is a good, not complete, but a good possibility that he gets under 10% because there will be more people flooding from the Mays camp to the Tancredo camp as this goes along. I think it is possible. I don't think it's likely, but I think it is fairly possible. It'd be fun.
It could be fun.
You know, we saw this Rasmussen poll the other day where he had 21%. And again, the negative ads from Tancredo hadn't really started to kick in. But again, I think if he's still maintaining that level of support right now, even after all of the seemingly negative stories that have come out against him, I think those that are true believers in Dan Mays, if they're still true believers now, they're going to be true believers 6 weeks from now, pretty much no matter what else comes out.
And part 2, if you're a good Republican and you fear minority status, you would go vote for Mays, right?